Welcome to you all. Today we're celebrating the cooperation between the Netherlands and Germany regarding the creative industries. And I'm honored to be your host today. My name is Carina Wijma, and I'm Business Development Manager for Germany for the Dutch top sector creative industries. And I'm involved with Germany for a long time. Some years ago, I conducted a plan for Germany on the various business clusters in this big country. And my personal interest, in fact, is on the social and creative processes in Germany. And today, it's very heartwarming to see so many people in the room, and we have a common love for Germany, isn't it? And welcome to the German guests. I see colleagues from the city of Munich and from Berlin, and we are grateful to arrange this network moment with the Embassy of Berlin. So thank you very much on forehand. I also want to thank the Ministry of Economic Affairs for the close cooperation, as well as CreativeNL, all important partners to us. And a special thanks to Simone van Bennekom, who leads these 4 days of country focus during the Dutch Design Week. And about CreativeNL, our international approach stimulates the connection between the Netherlands and Germany in processes all countries are facing. For example, the global challenges in the field of sustainability, mobility, and health and the environment. And no country can solve that alone. So we want to prepare for the future and to respond to future shocks, maybe. But moreover, care for each other in the society, to all. And our focus today will be on social innovation. That is quite a broad socio-economic topic, and that cannot be explained in one sentence. It refers to the design and implementation of new solutions, on processes and on products, and with focus on welfare to all, to people and communities. And we will hear the point of view of several speakers today from Germany, from fast-growing economic strong cities, and from the Netherlands, and even to the relation of shoes and data. So it will be exciting. And we want to inspire companies and knowledge institutes to make this step to Germany, the creative industry. And we will give some examples today for you. So this is our program. If you can see it and read it. Today we will have the point of view in a panel from the German point of view, and then from the Dutch point of view. And we will talk about the shoes and the data, as I promised. And for example, we would talk about architecture, but it's a pity to tell you that Ruben Lenz from Block has been ill today, so we will talk about it later. And we have a special guest from Germany from the Munich Creative Business Week over here. So you'll see a full program, and we're looking forward to that. So I would say welcome to the first speakers, and that is Mr. Olaf Krantz and Juliane Kaal. I would like to invite you on the podium over here, and then I will introduce you properly to this audience. Yeah, please take a seat over here. Yeah. Mr. Olaf Krantz from Germany, from Munich, welcome. You are, and I have written it down because it's a lot, you are head of the team of excellence for culture and creative industries of the city of Munich. This is quite a big city. And this team is the central contact point for all cultural and creative professionals in Munich and the metropolitan region, so that's even broader. And as I know, your team offers consulting and qualification, network internationalization, as well as support for the search for space and interim uses of all kinds of creativities. And for us, important to know, your team is the initiator on the Munich side for a cooperation titled Creative Embassy Munich Amsterdam, which started in 2017, and it was renewed 1 year ago with a letter of intent between 2 cities. And I know that our Dutch colleagues from Amsterdam are also here. So we are very grateful to have both parties from both countries in the room. And Mrs. Juliane Kaal, welcome again. You are the researcher, educator, and the founder and CEO of the Responsive Fashion Institute. And the Responsive Fashion Institute is an award-winning immersive consultancy for digital applications like XR technologies, blockchain, and machine learning in the fashion industry. That's quite a wonderful crossover. And your international point of view is interesting, so welcome. And we're happy to have you both here today. And this afternoon we're talking on the cooperation between the Netherlands and Germany. And in many points of view we will see, and also on the topic of social innovation. So I will sit with you, and then we can talk over some questions, if you like to. So, Mr. Krans, may I start with you as our honored guest?
Yeah.
What is your opinion on cooperation between both countries in general? Because it's quite different, those cultures.
You think so? So quite different cultures. Well, okay, I think that, as you mentioned it before, we have the responsibility to work together because we are so much advanced societies compared globally. And, you know, we are the people that caused many problems we have to cope with at the moment and to find solutions for it. But also we have the means to do so. So therefore it's super important to work together on problems that can only be solved collectively on a global scale. And then I think cooperation is pretty important because besides, you know, getting inspired, exchanging experiences and so on, you can step outside of your daily routines and look at your solutions to shared problems in the light of somebody else's solutions. So, and this comparative view is, enlightening.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So, and therefore, I think it's super important to work together. Not so much because the cultures are so different. They are, but not so different, I guess.
Yeah. And Juliana, what about you?
First of all, I would like to thank you and CreativeNL for having us here and for this platform. The Dutch designers and makers and companies and researchers I work with, they all share a real open mind.
Yeah.
They're really future-oriented and they're really they're fun to work with as well, which sometimes is being forgotten. And it's I think we share the same agenda. Yeah. In a way, and I think that's been always really fruitful in that sense.
Yeah, it is fruitful, but it's also challenging. And what would be the benefit to learn from each other? Because we might be different, we have different languages, different culture. But Mr. Krans, what could we learn from each other? What could we, as Dutch, learn from the Germans, if you can be proud in yourself?
Okay, well, so I think you can only see, or you can only know what you can learn when you see it. So, but yeah, what to learn from each other? Besides the different approaches maybe to innovation. So I think, I mean, you choose the topic of social innovation for this panel talk. And I think that not on a conceptual level, but on a implementation level, the Netherlands has a small advance in applying the idea of social design and social innovation. So from my personal point of view.
Yeah, that's very kind to hear. And what could we learn then from you, from the Germans?
Yes. So I would like to ask you the same question. So I can't really say, actually.
Yeah, that's always difficult. Yeah. We all know you're good planners and you think ahead. And we love that from the Dutch point of view. But that's something that you have in every process. But in social innovation, it's you have a very big country with various speeds, like we have in the Netherlands. So we'd like to look up to our kind of big brother to see how do you do and what can we learn from it. So maybe today or later in the discussions we come further. But Juliana, what would your answer be?
Yes.
What could we, as Dutch, learn of the other way around? Whatever suits you.
I see it more with the people we work with. I think we share the same mindset, but I think if we look at the broader perspective, then collaboration is not a nice thing to have right now. I think it's a necessity in order to find solutions for current issues. And I think we all need a new mindset. And it's a mindset that you're not a designer or researcher, you have a big ego, so you really have to learn to work collaboratively. And I think that's something the Dutch are good at because they're really open and easily approachable. But I think if you say like before, the Germans are really reliable or like good with planning and things like that, which I think is a bit of a cliche, but then again, you know, maybe they're... But it's a new mindset, and I think we can support each other to develop that different mindset. and find solutions. Because in the end, it's not about where you're from, it's about who has the resources, who has the ideas, and putting a strong team together.
Exactly, yeah. And what would you suggest that we should do as a next step in this collaboration from your point of view in your cooperation with the Dutch? What would you like to see in the field of sustainability, of data, of experiences? Was there something that struck your mind in this cooperation past year?
Well, what struck me was that I think the Germans need a bit longer to, for example, the whole topic of digital fashion. So you have some real pioneers in the Netherlands. And I think I've been spending some time recently in Munich or in the rest of Germany to explain to people what potential it has, like economically as well, and what new markets are evolving from there, and what bonus can be there from the sustainability perspective as well. And I think it just takes a bit longer, and then it's about resources as well. If government or institutions, if they can take on this new topic, and I think it would be really helpful and great if more collaborations could happen, because I think it would be helpful for the Dutch to have some user cases in a way.
Exactly.
And on the other hand, it would be great for the Germans to understand and to enter that market as well together.
Yeah. Now, the good thing is that you will be back on stage, and then you have this great example between the Netherlands and Germany.
Yes.
So we're looking forward to what you say there. And Mr. Krans, may I ask you a question? Why should cities invest in social innovation or social design to make it maybe a bit more practical? Why is that important?
Okay, so we have a shared challenge at the moment, that is to address the global problems, most urgently climate catastrophe. Yeah. And the solutions to that problem can only be collective solutions, overcoming particularistic interests and egos, so to speak. So therefore, we have to think about social responsible design when we create our human artificial environment, to be aware of the consequences of certain design solutions, but this is common sense in the meantime, I guess. But also to apply social design in the sense that we should think about the solution to social problems by applying creative problem solution methods from the creative industry sector. Yes. So this is, those are both sides of the medal.
Yes. And what especially could your team do in this way to understand for the audience what your role might be? Because this is quite a big government in Munich. What could your team do?
So we are a team within the municipality of Munich, and our task is to support the creative industries. And you mentioned our portfolio earlier. But lately, so we made an addition to the menu in as far as we stretch out into city development. Mm-hmm. So you heard about this new Bauhaus movement started by the European Commission. And they, so we were successful in acquiring a pilot project called, in the new Bauhaus movement, called Neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Where we catalyze development in a satellite district of Munich called Neuperlach, which has certain social problems. For example, a high unemployment rate among the young with a migration background, for example. And we add to this process three aspects. The first is that we bring a certain perspective of creative minds to problem solution. Second is that we tackle social problems. And the third aspect is that we apply throughout the whole process methods of design thinking, for example, to catalyze the process, make it more creative and more agile.
Yeah, that is a very long, interesting process, making something agile. So you have a bond with the creatives in your city to bring them in special neighborhoods.
Right.
That's what we like. One thing we like to learn from you, because that's important. We try to do this, for example, in Eindhoven, and it sounds easy, but it's not that easy.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So compliments for that. I would like to ask your idea on social innovation. It's a very big, broad element. What is your first point of view or words that would come in mind? And then I would ask the same to Juliane.
Yeah, I think it's impact and longevity.
Yeah.
Because I think the best social design for innovation examples are really the ones that don't end up on a shelf.
Yeah.
They have to create an environment where the makers or the initiators become obsolete, and then it becomes alive on its own. So this whole mindset of open sourcing, so not taking it from the coding idea, but taking it from a project development idea.
Yeah. I can imagine that you have a kind of open innovation start, that you think together, but in the end everybody picks out his own idea to make it practical, yes. But you have to share and be open and trust. So trust and cooperation are very important, yes. Topics.
Yeah, and you make it copyable, so people can copy it in different regions, because what's working in Neuperlach might work in different parts of the world. So really to make it accessible, open, and then you can adapt it.
Yeah. So on a strategic level, you could say that both countries do a kind of open innovation process with each other,
yes.
To find solutions, and then we work it out in our own place, for example, our own neighborhoods. And what would, for social innovation, be your idea? What kind of words are you thinking of?
So in terms of keywords, right?
Yeah.
So mindfulness, responsibility, sustainability. So I would say.
Oh, that's mindfulness. Why mindfulness?
Why? So because I'm a sociologist by profession, and one of my favorite thinkers is Carl Weick, and who coined the term of mindful thinking. And this is important for coping with crisis. So therefore mindfulness is the most important characteristic, I guess.
That's a very nice remark today. Yeah. I think we have time for questions from the room. So is there anyone who would like to ask a question to those people from Germany who are very inspiring? Anyone? Oh, I can see somebody in the back there. Would you like to step up and go to the microphone, please? Yeah, I'll stand up too. Welcome.
Hey.
Hi. Oh, you can stand over here. Yeah. Yeah. Are you open to ask to hear the question?
Yes.
We know each other. You're Simone.
Yes. Hi.
Welcome, Simone.
Thank you, Carina. I have a question for you, Olaf. I was wondering, because you're within a municipality, are there also other teams that are interested in what's your team doing?
Other teams within the municipality?
Yeah.
Yeah. So specific for our team is that we combine cross-functional perspective across departments. So within the teams are people from the cultural department, as well as from the department that is in charge of real estate owned by the city. So, so we are the main anchor point of our team is within the department for economy and work. And we are trying to get connected to the city development department, which also takes a huge interest into our work, because they see what the consequences are of our work, for example, in terms of temporary usages for creatives in certain districts, quarters, and the city center.
And how are you sharing those outcomes? Or is there a monitor, or?
Well, there's, to be honest, so it's not on a systematic basis, but we are in constant talks with the heads of departments, And very recently, another department asked us to share our experiences. So we are closely monitored informally by many colleagues in the municipality, and they take a huge interest in what we are doing because it's also so fancy, you know, it's cultural and creative industries, and everyone wants to, you know, become creative at the moment.
Yeah, it's an interesting approach, I think, for also within, like, for policymakers. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thanks. That's a good question. Is anyone else who wants to react on that? Oh, yeah. Come forward.
To the spotlight.
Yeah, you all have to walk here, so you're part of the stage. Yeah. What is your name?
Hi, I'm Marijke. And I was wondering, what is your wish for the upcoming 5 years? Well, for Munich maybe, but also for the cooperation between the Netherlands and Germany. Is it understood?
Yeah, one of you, maybe Juliana, wants to say something from her point of view.
I'm a real team player. I love corporations. I love international corporations. I think we can all learn so much from each other. I mean, we're doing it already. We're doing it right now in the workshop next door. We're going to, I think the more the merrier. I think we all have to learn to really work together and find solutions.
Sounds
so more
nice.
collaborations would be the answer.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, did you have something specific in mind while you asked the question?
Well, that's very abstract, of course, and general. So I was hoping for something more concrete, but maybe a vision, or in 5 years we have something, I don't know.
Yeah.
But collaboration is what we are looking for, so
Yes.
the answer is always right.
Now, sorry, I mean we're all entering the digital space now more and more. I mean, particularly through the pandemic, or since the pandemic, and I think it's really great to make that conversation in the digital space inclusive as well. And that's something I'm personally interested in, and that I'm trying to achieve with the institute as well. And you know, we're talking about that as well, to really make it inclusive, so that everyone can create these new systems. And I think the Dutch are really at the forefront of testing things, and I think bringing that together into a mainstream, which is, again, if you look at data literacy or, you know, accessibility. I mean, I do some projects in Ethiopia, and then I have to see, if I do a VR platform, do people have the internet connection to enter it? Do they have the hardware?
Yeah.
And things like that. But everyone should be part of that conversation to create those spaces, to develop everything that potentially is possible in those spaces.
Yeah,
to make it more concrete as well as actually we have a cooperation, as you mentioned, with Amsterdam called Creative Embassy, and we will meet the colleagues from Amsterdam and discuss the further steps in this collaboration. And our wish is to continue here and to intensify the cooperation. So it started off with delegation visits, exchanges, and now in the second round it's about field labs, so where we develop together solutions for shared problems. And the next step would be to get involved in something, I would say, cross-functional design thinking workshops based on problems the municipalities share in both cities, and then to spread out to other cities and to make it a network. So this would be the vision.
Yes, that's very nice that you mentioned it. Yeah, because what we share as two countries, we can also share with others in Europe, which is a big word. And then we should also share not only what we could do well, but also what we face as a problem or a challenge. So then openness and trust and all your values are very important. Yeah. Thank you. Any other question? Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I have two questions, actually. My name is Cecile de Boer from the city of Arnhem. Do you have some interesting examples from Munich, how you make the connection between different sectors? For example, in Arnhem, we have, we call ourselves Arnhem Hotspot Energy City, because we have a big history on energy. And do you have examples how you make the connection between the energy sector and the creative sector? And the second question I have is about European networks. I assume you're also involved in European networks like Eurocities or other networks. Maybe you can tell us something about that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your question. Maybe we can divide the two questions among the two of you.
I think they were both to you, right?
Both to me.
I don't know about any collaborations in Munich about the energy sector and the creative sector. Is that the question? But I think there's a lot happening at the technical university.
Yeah, right.
I mean, they have like this, in Munich, there's this Munich Urban Co-Lab, and the Unternehmertum, which is one of the, Frau Klatten, which is one of the richest women in Germany. She initiated with a technical university this Unternehmertum. So they do lots of incubators for startups and technical things, and they're really closely aligned with the students. So some of them participated in this competition of the Hyperloop, and they won a few times and things like that. So I'm sure they do things with energy, but I don't have any concrete example.
So my team has been set up in 2014. So and we only now start to address this topic of cross innovation. But we are part of the Department of Economy and Work, and Frieke, a colleague of mine, is here as well, and she conducted a workshop last week and assembled across the whole municipality representatives from different departments to discuss a certain topic which might be of interest for each department under the general topic of district management. So, and there were people from the energy sector as well invited, and maybe you can connect with Frieke after the workshop and get an exchange. But yes, so the topic is cross-innovation and how to get the creatives talking to other people and in a fruitful way, which is easier said than done. So maybe we can talk about it after this panel session. So I have some experiences to share here as well from a commercial point of view. So what was the second question, please?
European collaborations.
European networks, yeah. So European networks are very important, of course. And yeah, Munich is, so within our department, there is a special position that takes care of international programs. So, and last week on Thursday, we also had a visit of UrbAct, so which is a city network. So, and Munich is actively trying to get memberships in different networks. So, for example, our team is a member of the European, what is it called, creative ECBN, European Creative Business Network. So, and this is an active policy in order to get networked, in order to get experiences, exchanges, and to see, as I said before, your own solutions in the light of somebody else's.
Thank you. It might be good that you speak to each other later on. Thank you for the broad answers. And thank you for coming and joining us. And I also want to say thank you to Frieke, because we are working already for a year together. And from this stage, I say thank you for this trust and collaboration. And we hope to see each other in the future again. And first, we see each other today and tomorrow and even Wednesday visiting Amsterdam. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for having us.
Good. We're all happy. So now, after hearing the German point of view, we'd like to see the Dutch point of view. I would like to visit or to ask Miss Valerie Ann Hoepermans and Marcel Schreuder, Mr. Marcel Schreuder on stage. Yeah, please take a seat, and I will introduce you. Valerie Ann, that's a beautiful name.
Valerie.
It's cultural attaché and deputy head of culture and communications at the Embassy of Kingdom of the Netherlands in Berlin. And Marcel Schreuder is partner at Springtime. And Springtime, as you've been telling me, is providing design research, concept design, product design, and branding. And they support their clients with innovations in the field of mobility, from strategy to production. And then some great examples. Think of clients from Mobike from China. We have a colleague from China over here, Lyft in the USA, and European clients like the NS, the Dutch Railways, which you took today probably or yesterday, and in Germany, Tier Mobility from Berlin, if I pronounce that well. And yeah, welcome. We're happy to have you here and hear your opinion about cooperation between the two countries. And we had already some lovely points of view. So I'm curious to ask you, and I'm going to sit with you, but think it over. Valerie Ann, what do you think why do you think it's important that both countries cooperate? And what is your opinion from the embassy point of view?
Yeah, Carina, thank you for having us here. It's a great opportunity also to tell how we are active in this field. Well, first of all, cooperation between the Netherlands and Germany, whether it be in economic cooperation, cultural cooperation, Germany is actually our partner number one, and that's already one of the most important reasons to cooperate. And when we're then talking about creative industries, what lays is at the crossover actually of economic cooperation and cultural cooperation. We have both our countries have architects, designers, fashion designers of a very high quality. But we believe that with, and it was already mentioned before, with the current challenges in this world, whether it be energy crisis, climate change, that it's actually in the exchange and in the synergy that we can reach even greater heights. And it is this exchange that we try to stimulate, support, make possible, connect the people. And in that respect, we started in 2020 the All Goods program, which is a program on new materials and new material use. And we do it in cooperation, the cultural department, with our infrastructure and water department. And it is new material use in the light of the circular economy agenda of the Netherlands 2050. And within this program, we organized lab talks, workshops, conferences. We had exhibitions, all with Dutch and German designers. And it was each time this exchange between them that was at the core of our activities.
Yeah, so your feeling from your heart and your mind is that we can learn from each other and that we need to cooperate to solve those global challenges, which is true, of course. And the funny thing is, then we try to mention what can we learn from each other. So first, a question to you, why do you think it's important? Because you are a businessman, you are a manager, you are involved in many social design projects, but you're also, you have a money point of view.
That's true. Thanks, first of all, for inviting us. Yeah, as you mentioned, Springtime is involved a lot in thinking about mobility solutions. And one of the things the Dutch are good at is being a bit advanced on alternative ways to transport ourselves in the cities. And that's, of course, in general, what a lot of countries are interested to learn about. So last week we had also a delegation from Berlin and Amsterdam. I'm also part of the exchange between München and Amsterdam, which goes not only about mobility but also other terms. But that is one very specific topic when not just us as a company, but we as the Dutch business world have something to offer to München or Germany in general.
Yeah. So what can we learn from the Germans then, in that point of view?
Well, first of all, as we saw, maybe a bit of modesty. Of course, the Dutch have the tendency of very, very outspoken, and so the Germans in general are a little bit more polite. And so we are a bit better at speaking highly of ourselves. So I'll try to... But apart from that, of course, as was also mentioned by Liliana, that the Dutch creative industry is good because we, in general, are also because we are a bit rude and open-minded. We're good at creativity, but in general it's a bit cliché as always, but of course the Germans are better at eventually making something that comes out of that. So not only building and having the industry to do so, but also going to it all the way to the end to create something that works.
Good, which is true. Yeah. Then Valerie Ann, we have this social innovation concept. What are the words and the idea if you hear this concept, this idea? What would you think?
Yeah, what I immediately thought of was like the research that we actually conducted 3 years ago, we had an external consultant, someone with a long career, extending a career in the design sector, who we asked and with whom we researched into this question. What are the similarities and the differences actually between what a design practice in the Netherlands and Germany has to offer, and where is the added value? And one of the things that came out was that in the Netherlands, social design was really something that we could eventually bring in Germany, but on the other hand, it was design thinking and design research where Germany popped up, and this notion of these two points where we're strong, where we have a focus, we've tried to bring this together. And the way we actually interpreted this was also to see how we can get this design thinking into policy, societal, social questions that actually live with our colleagues in the embassy. That sounds like a very internal process, but it isn't, because an embassy is actually an organization where people from the entire government, so from all the different ministries, work. And so we entered into discussions with our colleagues from infrastructure and water, but from our colleagues from agriculture. What are the big social and societal questions that are on your desk, and how could design thinking help there? And nowadays we're actually, all our interventions in the field of creative industries are mostly like coming from this basis, that we really see how could this new way of thinking, come up with solutions.
Yeah, so you have also an important role to ask the right questions within the embassy, with your colleagues.
It's often a long process, really, to come together to where could be the added value, and where could we really, but it can lead to very new and alternative ways of thinking. And that's also, you asked the question in the former panel, what would you like to see in 5 years? And I thought of this, no longer columns between all those different terrains and domains, but get this creative industry and this social design way of thinking integrated in everyone's way of working.
Yeah, it's an important question to start in the beginning of a process, probably, before you go into the application area, to start this question again and again, and you make a kind of lus, we call it breien in the Netherlands. I don't know this word in English.
Knitting.
Yeah. What is a social innovation, this big terminology? What would you think? What does it bring to you?
Yeah, well, in general, thinking about new ways to get around the city is also a lot about change of behavior. Of course, like how do you convince people to get out of the car? And which is in some parts of the world a bit easier than others. But also the project we're now doing with the cities of Amsterdam and München is really about how can we combine different problems, also different columns. So think about the city logistics. So how can we reduce the amount of cars bringing around packages? But how can we combine that with other desires, like less cars in the city in general for personal transportation, but also more interaction in the neighborhood, because people order more online, they don't meet each other in the shop anymore. So how can we create something, a new interaction point in the neighborhoods? And also to really come up with a sensible solution, it's really important to talk to everybody in the specific neighborhoods. So on the München side, but also in Amsterdam, we are trying to find the appropriate neighborhoods to do something like that, and also set up a research project to really find out what's valuable and how we can help.
Yeah, so in fact you're sharing knowledge and you try to find a focus on where you can make the difference. This sounds very easy in one sentence, what I say, but what is your experience in real time? What are the stoppers and the stimulators in that? What comes to mind?
Well, in general, this whole topic of, for example, the logistics is a very complicated topic, because in the end, when you look at the couriers, like everybody prefers to deliver his package to the door of his or her client. So that's what they, from a commercial perspective, want. So in the end, if you really want to accomplish something, then in the end, the cities, both in Amsterdam and München, they have to also set limits there. So that's also here in Amsterdam, we had a company called Parcels that also tested something like that. But in the end, if the cities just allow everyone to drive to your doorbell, then nothing will happen. So it's always a combination of policies, creative solutions, and also the business world picking up to offer something that it also works on a commercial basis.
So if we speak about field labs, then we need the government to make the rules more easy and to stimulate people who earn money with that, all those delivery guys, that they can still earn their money, but in a more effective way.
Yeah, but
That's
of
how
course
it's-
I also understand that's not easy, because which are the rules to set, and that of course requires a lot of internal discussion, so that's obviously part of how it works.
Yeah. And for entrepreneurs like you, what could the embassy do, or what could be your advice, Valerian?
Yeah, well, first of all, we mentioned now the embassy, but it's of course the whole diplomatic network in Germany. So it consists of a consulate general in Munich, in Düsseldorf, and 3 national business support offices in Frankfurt, Stuttgart, and Hamburg. And it's actually this entire network, and even more these consulate generals and NBSOs, as we call them, that work for this economic cooperation. So now we focus on economic cooperation. There's an entire toolbox of multiple instruments that could be used, and it's actually too much to go into it here. But as most of you know, that RVO is the first point of contact, and I would definitely encourage you to contact them if there are any plans to go over the border. Apart from that, I also asked specifically to prepare for this meeting my economic colleagues and asked, well, what is the advice? And they said every single case is actually tailor-made, and please come and contact us so that we can really identify what would be for you the best approach. But in general, of course, we try to connect people, to stimulate and support cooperation, to find the right platforms. We try continuously to scan the market and see where there are new developments, where there are possibilities to enter the market, these sort of things. And then on the other hand, because I'm from the Department of Culture actually, and it's a bit an overlapping area, we have there our toolbox of instruments, which is among others the possibilities to have a visitors program to the Netherlands, which have been very successful in the last years. For example, at the Dutch Design Week, we had delegations with German curators, museum directors, who later on in Germany started programming Dutch designers. So for those who are more in this domain, that is among the options. And of course, we have our subsidy scheme, etc.
Yeah, that's you mentioned toolbox many times, and that's very nice because then we see this little box. But there's lots coming out, and it's important to know your face, to know that it exists. So if you have plans here in the audience to go to Germany, be aware. And we're also very happy last year with the MOU between Munich and Amsterdam that we could work with the Consul General. And that's without them you have no open doors, and of course there are open doors, but they just stimulate and they embed you. So thank you very much. Say this to your colleagues, please.
Yeah, we have a network, and we would really like to help you also and share it with you where we can.
Yeah, and then Marcel, because that's an important thing. What would springtime take out of this? All these opportunities. What is your dream?
Well,
in Germany?
First of all. Like you mentioned, we work for a quite international client base, but when we started, one of our first clients was from Germany, the Sachs, still a famous name. Back in the days, also making motorcycles and Fahrradtechnik, not anymore. But through the years, we kind of drifted away to other avenues. But recently, we set Germany also as a target country for us to do more business, because of course apart from being our neighbor, there's still a lot of industry in, for us, interesting fields. And so that's the specific reason for us to also invest more time in the relationship with Germany.
Yeah, and another dream, what would come out there, business-wise for you?
Well, we always think that, like as I mentioned, we're working for TIER from Berlin, and one of the biggest players in the so-called micromobility world. But I really think that the car industry should play a more active role in alternative mobility, and they're staying still a bit shy of that, although they do little experiments. So working with one of the big German OEMs would be one, I wouldn't say dream, but would be a target.
It's stated here, so please take this home. Is there anyone from the audience who wants to ask a question to those people here? Now we have them. I have to do like this because you're a bit dark, in the dark. Who wants to ask a question? Anyone? No one? Is there any question you want to ask each other?
Yeah.
Well, maybe I spoke last week to my colleague from the Infrastructure and Water Department, and where we've been cooperating very intensely on circular economy. Before he told me, well, you know, now it's mobility, and I said like, well, but creative industries is there as well. I'm really willing to do something. And then I asked him why is circular economy, is it off the agenda? And he said, no, it's not off the agenda. But it's actually with the current geopolitical questions, not only do we have this change in the energy field, but we also see that in infrastructure a lot is changing because it's used differently because different types of transport are taking place. Is that something that with the current geopolitical developments you see also changes within your domain, and where eventually creative industries could also come in again with new
well, it's definitely having
solutions.
an influence, since, of course, the energy crisis in general is not good news for our wallet, but it stimulates change. So people are more looking at energy saving in all the territories, in their homes, but also in transportation. It's, of course, costs quite a lot of money to drive to Eindhoven if you would have the silly idea to do that by car. And so, of course, it's driving, it's in some ways stimulating innovation as well on new ways of getting around, for sure. And yeah, maybe a question, not a question, but more a discussion point. Like for us, like Carina mentioned earlier, we are a creative agency, and our clients in general are corporations or companies. So for us, dealing with the government is sometimes always a bit difficult. Like it's always good in the sense of stimulating and promotion interactions, but to really get something done is sometimes a bit difficult for us. But that's something that you can solve here on the panel, I'm afraid.
Yeah, that's a very gentle remark on the public-private cooperations.
Yeah.
With you need a long breath, as we say in Dutch.
Yeah, yeah.
And you learned already from the China work and from the US. What did you learn specifically that you would bring in your wish for Germany? Is there anything you can point out?
Well, I was in September also with a trade delegation to California, accompanied by our Queen. And of course, there is even a lot more work to be done on, for example, bicycle infrastructure. And of course, also I've been to München, not the last time unfortunately, but in October, and also when you were there 10 years ago, it's already a lot of difference. And so you see that everywhere in the world, especially in European cities, mobility patterns are changing, and they're changing fast. When you're now in Paris, you really don't believe your eyes when you see the number of bicycles and scooters going around. And what's also interesting that, of course, the Dutch, they use the bicycle already a lot, but sometimes, well, it's the wet of the rem and the voorsprong. Since in Germany it's a bit of more of a clean sheet, so there's more room for innovation. So, like on the micromobility, as we call it, like scooters, e-bikes, shared solutions, there's a lot more to find than in the Netherlands, because also there's less of a need here. But so Germany is a more interesting playground for labs and innovation in that respect. Yes. Berlin is like the capital of shared mobility at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, we wish you all the path in Germany. So everybody from Germany, a warm welcome to you. And I would like to say thank you for being here. And let's conclude this panel and meet each other afterwards during the drinks. All right. Thanks a lot. Now we are stepping over to another point of view, and in fact I would like to ask Juliana to be back. Do you want to be back? Yes, you will. And Troy, do you want to join? Yeah, I'm happy to introduce you again. And you were already on stage, and I would like to take a seat. You already did. I would like to say something about Troy, if you are open to that. Professor Troy Nachtigal likes to use data as a material to make things like shoes. And you have a beautiful German background. You speak English and you are in the Netherlands, so you are a true international like Juliane. So it's quite a couple to have you here. And as you said, smart cities are rich sources of data about humans. And what if we use the data from our shoes? So everybody has shoes. You have many couples in your cupboard. What do we do if we have the data from our shoes and other personal things? How we could tell us to make buildings, or how we move in cities, or how we use the space. Isn't that an interesting idea? And during your PhD research at the University of Eindhoven, where you have been working with architects and designers and scientists, you worked across the scale of the body, the room, so the body yourself, the room, and the scale and the building as a fellow of the Marie Curie Action. And I don't pronounce it right, you might know it better. Architext ETN, is that right?
Yes,
that was not that bad. And you informed me that learning to see the city and the shoe are a very similar thing, only that one suffers quite a few more earthquakes, because your shoes do that all the time. And no, so welcome on the stage, and it might be nice to know, during our presence here, you already told us there's another great workshop going on, because you need data and you need a lot of data. So workshops is a very good moment to collect data, and we were happy to offer you that opportunity. The workshop is upstairs, so there are people working on it. And first, we would like to show a movie you made on the Munich Creative Business Week. We've been there last year with CreativeNL, with a lot of Dutch. And then the stage is yours to have your presentation.
Thank you.
Both of you with Juliane. Is that right?
Yeah.
So it would be nice if we could have the film right now.
I'm here at Munich Creative Business Week to do a workshop with the Center of Expertise on Creative Innovation on how we can take city data and shoe data and merge them together.
The Dutch really have a beautiful way of combining skill sets from the design industry, but also with sustainability and with science as well. So it's really beautiful to work with Troy and with his team and to really join forces and try to experiment the future of mobility from the perspective of the shoes.
So what I want to achieve here in Munich is working with the people who are here to create shoes from the city data. In doing this, we can see that the city of Munich and the city of Amsterdam are very distinct different places, and that the objects that we're making are unique to those places. And that's going to take a lot of work, but we really get to see something new and different emerge.
Great. Should we go to the... Okay, let's go up here. Come on, Yolanda.
Yes.
Yeah, so we've been having a lot of fun working together to try to explore what is this new conglomeration of shoes and data. And we're getting to the point of living in such a data-rich environment that we really have new ways of making things and new ways of really making things emerge from data. And creative processes are changing too. And it's really good to have different input from different cities to really make that happen.
Because we connected, or we got fixed up, so to say, and then we talk about what could we do for the Munich Creative Business Week, what kind of workshop, and how can we align our practices. And I said to you, in Munich, everything is about mobility. And you're like, yeah, that's great. Let's look at shoes and mobility from the perspective of shoes.
Well, because nobody thinks of shoes when they think about mobility, but the last mile is always done by foot. So getting that last mile in there and really trying to bring the shoe and the walking into that was really important to us. Let's see if we can push that to go to the next slide. Perfect. So this is my lab. I work on a lot of crazy manufacturing robots like the Shimaseki to make data-enabled products, fashion typically. I like to think of data as a material that we use to make things, just like the textiles that we're using to make it as well. And I work a lot with a lot of great researchers who really help us understand what it is to use AI and use data science to make stuff. This comes from a shoe that we first did for the Minister of Education, Jet Bussemacher. So back in 2015, we had the pleasure of really building a pair of shoes for her for Princessdag. And we really looked at her weight, her body, her 3D scan, and really tried to fit the material to her by literally 3D printing it, and not only the external kind of 3D print you're used to, but really looking at the internal elements and changing that into something new and into something very different. So that brought us to this idea of fashion is made and worn with data as a material. So this data is something that we actually use to make with. And finding that data and getting that data enables brand new systems that allows us to confront the energy crisis, the mobility crisis, all of these things that are coming at us, we can actually confront with a designerly way because we can finally look at them. And it's been working with the Responsive Fashion Institute that we're really actually starting to find the tools that allow us to do this.
Because from our...
Yeah, let's see, yours is the next one, right? There it is.
Yes. So we're just launching our second VR space. So again, what I mentioned before, we're trying to create that conversation in the virtual environment. And we did some proof of concept for meetings, for workshops, for social interactions. And also we tested, because we focus not only on fashion, but mainly, we tested different visualization ways of displaying fashion in the virtual space. These are some examples. We also look at XR technologies. On the left, you see an augmented reality filter we did for educational purpose, which was funded by the Sustainable Department of the City of Munich. So we brought in the global waste of fashion into the main square of Munich through Instagram filters that we created for kids in Munich. And on the left, you see our first steps of digital fashion that we started in 2020. So there you see me wearing a digital outfit on holiday 15 years ago in Brazil. And this is the latest work we do on data visualization, because we think there's so much happening with data, but understanding data is not really clear and not really straightforward, and it's just mainly limited to a few people that are good with numbers and are good with, I mean, they're not designers and they're not creatives. So what you see here is a data visualization. It's a motif that we printed on a large silk material. And on the right, you see the QR code. So what we did was that we interpreted the data that you see from these data points. So we have a certain amount of strings, which is the population of Ethiopia. Then we have the manufacturing hubs from Ethiopia. And it's the topic of minimum wage, because Ethiopia is currently winning the bottom race of the lowest payment of the workers. So that was translated in that thing. And this is a workshop we did at We Make the City Festival in Amsterdam as part of this partnership between Amsterdam and Munich. We did that in 2019, and it was an emotion harvesting hack. I did that with a colleague from Rotterdam, so you're not the first Dutch collaboration. And it was called a data visualization of emotions. We asked participants to bring their favorite garments or their favorite outfit, and then we asked them to write a love letter to that garment. And then we used some coding knowledge, and we visualized that handwritten piece of paper. And that visualization got laser cut onto a label, which again got sewn into the garment. So you have a garment where you have a connection from the personality or the emotional perspective. And that's really what mainly interests us. And I think that's what's really interesting to bring into the whole work we do together, the human aspect of the psychological topics and certain health topics as well to data.
Yeah, and I'm convinced we already wear data. All of us, most of us have a cell phone in our pockets that the moment that we stop looking at it in our hands and put it in our pockets, it's gathering all kinds of things about us. It knows if we've been around people who have had COVID. It knows where we're going, where we've been, how long we were there. As we start to have more data in our pockets with these little AirPods and the tile trackers, we start to have contextualized data of where's my bicycle right now and where is my billfold right now. They're both upstairs in the workshop because they're using them as part of these ideas of how to build shoes. But that's just for me. If we start to think about this on the scale of the city, Companies like Google and companies like Apple are starting to have huge contextualized maps of what our cities look like. Where are all the bikes at? Where are all the billfolds at? Where are the billfolds spaced out at a regular amount, which pretty much means this is an apartment block. And then if you combine that with all their other data, it gets to be pretty crazy and gives us some really new and interesting ways of looking at what's happening out there in the city. Now, one of my favorite companies is here in Eindhoven. They're called Patterns.ai. And Patterns.ai has done some really interesting things with AI recognition. And if you look at this, if you look at these two shoes here, this is a Superstar 80s versus a Superstar Foundation from the Patterns.ai website. And their AI is capable of telling the difference between these two nearly identical pairs of shoes. And so if we start to think about what's out there and what kind of data, not only in terms of electronics, but what we're getting from the visual data from our cities as well, we're starting to be able to understand who's who just by the clothes they wear. We only have so many clothes or so many shoes in our wardrobes, and there's probably only so many Superstar 80s out there, so we're being able to tell who's who by this. Privacy and ethics questions, most definitely. And we're working with those and trying to struggle with those to figure out how do we actually start using that data to build things with and make things with. And that's been a large part of the workshop that we've been doing together, is really, looking at, say, Google Maps. Everybody knows that when you open or close Google Maps on your phone, it takes a picture. Really interesting. So, Google's starting to really know what our street looks like and what's in the world around us, and they get some real contextual data about, what does the actual surface we're walking on look like. Do they look at this data? No, but shoe designers definitely do. And so this is one of the fun ones that we're trying to work with upstairs right now in this workshop. So Google's really interested about the square, right? They want to know what's there. But if we have a picture of holding our phone like this, we also have the picture of our shoes in there. And how our shoes interface with these rocks here in Brussels tells us a lot about what we do in the city and what we're up to in a city. The days we wear our dress shoes versus the day we wear our sneakers. There's a lot of crazy and fun information in that, and where we're going and how long we're there and what's happening. So how do we start to use that to make something that's really different and new? Combine that data with everything else that's going on in your life, your kids, your reminders, your city, the things you have to get done in a day, the fact you probably like to take 10,000 steps so you get your energy and you're keeping yourself slim and trim. They start to have a really interesting picture of us. And I think we can really use that to make better things for us that really fit questions of mobility, questions of energy, all those different silos. Bringing into it at the same time those emotional, that social impact that we need as well to really express what we are as a society.
And also it's about ownership of the data as well, because at the moment all the big companies are collecting that data, but we don't own it in a way, and we don't know that we give that data and how to make use of it. So I think this is a really interesting approach where we really test what is available, what is freely available, what's the potential in that data that's out there. It's our data, but it's...
And that's where it becomes social design, is because
Yes.
our societies have to do this. And this is where it's really great to work with people in Germany, because our ethics and our privacy laws and those kind of feelings actually agree in a lot of senses,
Yes.
which makes this an easier way to look at it. But there are the subtle differences between us that really allow us a lot of information as to how is this different, say, in Eindhoven versus Munich.
Yes. Oh, yeah, this is yours.
Oh, yeah, so it's okay. Sorry, I thought so. Yeah, so we're really asking upstairs right now, what are shoes for a city? And what kind of shoes do you need for a city? And how can we write algorithms that write those shoes for you? Design is becoming less and less of a question of drawing and sketching, and more of a question of syntax and programming. And we see a lot of that happening at the technical universities here and in Delft. And we're really getting these kind of things made with data, and data are these things that they make more data to make more things, which has been a theme at the technical university.
This is really up to date right now, because between the workshop we did in May and now, it's literally possible now that fashion designers or that AI can create fashion designs.
In Business of Fashion this morning, you have
Yes.
AIs completely doing the entire fashion design process. So what the designer is going to do in the future is radically changing. And that future might be next year, the way it's going.
Exactly. So that's all in this topic as well, because it's really about how to approach that. This is a screenshot from the workshop we did in May. in Munich, and we created this virtual space with it, and we had a data visualization that we used on a lunch with some people that are here already. So we had this lunch, we had the tablecloth, and we asked everyone over the lunch to sketch up some ideas and take some notes, etc. That currently this tablecloth is being digitalized
and embroidered at Amphi, at the Havia in Amsterdam.
But we brought it into this virtual space. This is actually a LiDAR scan of the Munich Urban Collabs maker space where we hosted the workshop. And we co-created designs of shoes with VR glasses. So we were creating collaboratively in the virtual space. So we brought it into this space as well. Again, this is just a screenshot, but it's all 3D. And we created a sound of the shoe, and we minted an NFT of that sound of that shoe, which again was the beginning of this initiative, which we're continuing now, which we're happening right now with the workshop. But we have great plans for the future, so we want to bring this further and develop it further.
Which, if you can make a shoe make a specific sound, gets really interesting, because we know that Signify works on lighting here that can hear gunshots and see things and triangulate. We have a street here in Eindhoven that totally tells as being a test field lab for testing this stuff. So we're trying to make markers, like a shoe that makes a specific sound that we can go back and find that data later.
Yes.
But yeah, the workshop was really fun in Munich. Imagine 4 shoe designers all logged into their Oculus at the same time, all designing on the same shoe together. It was quite wild.
Yes.
So really trying to change what that looks like and what that's gonna be in the future.
Yes, this is a screenshot from the panel we did as part of the Munich Creative Business Week program as well. We had a lovely designer from London who helped us with the VR designing process. We had
a shoe expert from Amsterdam who now works out of Barcelona, who came in and gave some really deep opinion on what we were doing as well. So starting to tie it together and bring the world together.
And the talk is online on YouTube, on the Responsive Fashion Institute YouTube site, so if you want to catch up on that.
And check out the NFTs.
And check the NFTs.
Cool.
Cool.
Excellent.
I think that's
I think the whole ended there.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll stand next to you. So we stand all on our little cross here. Please.
Yeah.
So we've been asked to look in the camera.
Okay.
First of all, it's wonderful that the Hogeschool van Amsterdam is connected to Germany. So I want to say that again.
Yeah.
You have your colleagues from Amsterdam over here. So we've been working with each other for a while. And it's a good platform to continue between the both of you. What I think very important is that the AI and the algorithms are algorithms that will work for everyone, not only for the clever ones or for the techniques in the room, but it will work for all of us because we all wear shoes. So it makes it very personal. And I would like to ask the audience, is there anyone who wants to connect to this broad information that you've been given? Is there any question from the room? Yes. Please come forward. Yeah. Thank you.
So thank you very much. My name is Yuri from the city of Amsterdam. This is all new stuff for me, so I'm inspired and also a little bit confused. But in Germany and in the Netherlands and in all different countries, there are different rules and regulations regarding data, and it's also a different feeling that people have with that. How does that affect your business and your plans?
I think it's interesting to have 2 countries to work with there, because a lot of the conversation that we have around privacy and that we have around ethics is good to have different cultural reference and share with each other. So we can ask, okay, how would this be in Amsterdam? How would this be in Munich? How would this be in Berlin sometimes? We had a Berlin designer with us as well. And it's in that conversation that we really figure out, what is ethical, what is moral, and whether or not we should do something.
And I think we're all under this umbrella of Europe. And I think Europe, again, from a different perspective, has such a reputation on data and protection of data. So I think, yes, we have differences. Like in Germany, it's still really difficult to pay everything with card. They want cash, and in Amsterdam, it's impossible to pay with cash. So, I mean, that's that. And yes, but I think it's very, we are all under this umbrella of EU, and I think EU is at the forefront worldwide. Anyway, if you look at China or America or other regions. So I think it's a real potential in there, even though we're different, but we are under the same umbrella. So.
I also think we both enjoy innovation in this area as well. And
Yes.
it's really the nice part of working in this part of the world is that they want to innovate it, and they understand that we should have this data open sourced, and that we should be able to, in a way that respects the individual's privacy, but we should be able to use this to make a better society around us. So we get to social design because we're using that data to actually make shoes better for everybody and help you walk around your neighborhood, your city, the places you're in. So yeah, and hopefully if the workshop goes well, we get to see how shoes can make data that helps us inform how to build cities better as well. So that's the big hope upstairs right now.
And the participants are joining the drinks afterwards, so we can question them.
Yeah, please question them too.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Yuri, for asking this question. I think the Netherlands is on human-centered AI for a while. We even have this AI coalition in the Netherlands. You might be familiar with those. And I think it's important that those big topics in Europe, we work together. So this is such a very original topic as an angle. Thank you very much for being here, for traveling, and we'll see each other later.
Yes.
Lots of success with the workshop.
Yes, thank you for the platform. Thanks for having us and the
Thank you.
invite.
Thank you. So now we are approaching the last speaker. As I already mentioned, we would like to have Ruben Lenz from Block on stage, but unfortunately he is ill, and we hope that we won't be ill altogether again in the coming period. Let's say it's a wonder we can stay here together, so close, so nice. Let's say it like that. But whatever I wanted to speak with Ruben about, I would like to mention it here because this topic is important in our thoughts on social innovation in cities, as Troy already mentioned. Because area development, another part, is not only a spatial task, but it's also a major societal task. And if we want to learn as Germany and the Netherlands from each other, we should not only show what we are good at, we should also dare to show and question what we have to work on and what are the hurdles, such as the various speeds in our city, and then not speeds you make with your shoes, but the speeds societal. So many people don't have any connection with wealth or the word innovation, and or how you can design in this city that has still insufficient space for youngsters with high prices of houses. And discussing this might help actually with the complex agendas of our time. And this way of thinking has been done for the new building Dutch Mountains here in Eindhoven, and probably you heard about it. It's this big wooden building that will be built near the station over here. So Ruben was here to tell about that. He's not here, but I mentioned the word. Take a chance if you can read about it. They have wonderful little pictures of this wooden building, and it could fulfill a role as a living room in Eindhoven for all of us, so not only people with wealth or with brains or whatever. And as we know, our German colleagues are living in a country that is so much bigger than ours. It has also bigger cities. So we're looking forward to share thoughts about this later. And I'm very happy that we can have somebody from Munich over here on stage from the Munich Creative Business Week. We are on the platform Dutch Design Week, and they have their beautiful Munich Creative Business Week. So I would like to invite you on stage, Christian. Yes, lovely to have you here to discuss those topics. And take a seat. I do have a question for you, so I keep standing here. It's such a big platform for the Dutch to be part of. So we were very happy last year to join you. And I heard there are about, let's see if that works.
I need some fixing.
Yeah, that's good. That's better.
Much better.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. It was wonderful to be with you at Munich Creative Business Week last year. I heard there were not even that many countries joining, so we were happy that we were one of them. And we had our own program, and we met you and your colleagues many times. And we're delighted that we will do it again. So I can make you a promise, we will be there next year.
Cool.
And this day, we speak about social innovation. You heard so many answers on intercultural and cross-country cooperation, some examples examples that came out of joining that week, because it's not only that week, we have this, this period, we prepare ourselves for half a year, maybe even starting today for next year. So it's a process that we're weaving, that's the word weaving. So my first question to you, the Netherlands are active on social innovation approaches, and is Munich also active on this topic? And what would you say then? What comes to mind?
Yes, it is, definitely. First of all, thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for giving us also the opportunity then to present to you the Munich Creative Business Week. About social innovation, we deep dived a lot from Bayern Design, the company that I worked for, into research what is already being done in Germany and Bavaria specifically, and then Munich also. And you have like foundations like the Hans Sauer Stiftung, for example, that look a lot into this. Circular Munich comes to mind, because then also the interweaving. So I talk a lot with my hands, so a mic is a challenge for me. So yeah, and for me, with a background in fashion design, what I really liked a lot, and showcasing also a Dutch and German collaboration approach, is the shelter jacket. I don't know if you are familiar with it. You should definitely look it up. It's something really cool. It's a Dutch startup. And they started designing outerwear, sustainable, functional fabrics, and so on. And then they looked a little further, and they didn't just create desires in product by creating product, but they looked for what do people need, and then they looked at homeless people and said to themselves, well, to give something back also to society, and to shelter these human beings against cold and rain and everything, they came up with a shelter suit, which is then a detachable sleeping bag that attaches to your jacket and then provides shelter. And this then got distributed also in Munich, so Berlin also, but that's the beauty of the working together on an important subject.
Yeah, or a social design topic. Maybe there's somebody from Shelter Suit here, or isn't it? No. Yeah, you are. Oh, isn't that great? Yeah, we cannot make a spotlight on you, but it might be no. Please take a look at those people that you contact each other, or anyone. Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. And I would like to give you the floor, but we have this movie first. Mm-hmm. So I'll step aside and we can show the movie, and then the floor is yours, okay?
Cool, thank you.
Yeah.
So that's the Munich Creative Business Week in a nutshell. You basically don't need me anymore, because that's basically all you need to know. Thanks again for the opportunity to present. Can everyone hear me all right? Yeah, because this is different now. Thanks again for the opportunity to show you what we're up to and what's in it for you also a little bit. So. The Munich Creative Business Week is the largest Germany's largest design event, and a display also for the potential and the power that lies within the Bavarian creative and design industry. And as we've heard previously, it's not just the Bavarian creative and design industry, but the world comes together there a little bit and showcases the potential that, and the key role also that design plays in pushing the transformation in society forward. So, yes, we have an annual motto, and with this umbrella we create events ourselves, but also encourage our partners, and there was 2022 over 160 of them. We encourage our partners within this umbrella to create design experiences where you can fully immerse yourself in design. So that's our, basically, I talk about that a little later also, that we, what's our task in this. So a key role plays networking and also the forging of contacts, and then what you build with that after. So click. A lot of things going on here. So yeah, the Munich Creative Business Week is organized by Bayern Design. It's the company that I'm employed by. That I'm employed by, and it's sponsored by that I need to read. All still is the Ministry of Economic Affairs, Regional Development and Energy, and of course the City of Munich. I just need to read the English translation. In German, it rolls off the tongue. Ministerium für. So one further. This is Bayern Design, this is us, and we're the competence center for design in Bavaria, also there for knowledge transfer. And we like to think of ourselves to provide the platform for all the different players within the field of design, but not limited to. So basically, whoever has an idea in regards to design, also social design, may it be universal design, whatever, we bring people together and then start the process. We do a lot of interesting projects throughout Bavaria. Of course, the Munich Creative Business Week is the lighthouse project that we do. So yeah, this I need to read because that's a lot. The Munich Creative Business Week sparks new momentum, provides radiance, enjoys trans-regional attention, and is well remembered. And that's something, I think that's something in the air also that you could feel here in Eindhoven as well, because I arrived yesterday night pretty late, thanks to Deutsche Bahn. But you can feel, the creativity buzzing here. It seems like you can touch it, and it's similar with the Munich Creative Business Week. And I thought about this quote yesterday also walking through town here. So that's something that we already share in common, and for the Munich Creative Business Week, we also have some numbers here to back this up. So we had over 250 international speakers speaking or conducting workshops at over 200 events, and that were created by us or our over 160 partners with more than 60,000 visitors. So for the number of people, that's good to know. Yeah, this is a list of our, not limited to, because and a lot more, because this is not close to 160. This is just the most illustrious and important partners, but again, of course, a lot more. Yeah, so we took from 2022, we took some learnings. We shifted the Munich Creative Business Week from March to May because of the pandemic, but the feedback for this year, I tend to say sometimes last year because it's already over and we're working on the next one. Feels familiar, I think. So we shifted that permanently now to May, so we really look forward to that. You compete a little bit with the Isar and the nice weather and barbecue at the river, but that's a challenge that we feel we're up to. We'd like to also go a lot more deeper into the public space area. So what you can see in the presentation in the background, a little faded, is our public installation that we did in the Kunstareal, so in the art area in Munich, and it was a line of swings that static nightmare for the company that had to build it, but hey, was really cool and really playful approach to showcasing our annual motto then, which was moving horizons. So when you sat on a swing and the horizon moved basically, and it was intended for sorry, for you to shift your focus a little bit and see, and look over the board of your plate. That's something we say. You probably say the same in Dutch. Über den Tellerrand schauen. Yeah. So yeah, that's one of the learnings. Also, what we'd like to do is continue and even drive further the knowledge transfer. With a format that we created for 2022, which is Talk and Connect, that we look for. We had last year, this year, there it is. This year we had Francesca Bria speaking there, so very interesting, also very interesting talk about how transformation and what role design plays in transformational processes. Yeah. And that's to the knowledge transfer. And then we have an opening event called Meet and Greet, where we network and basically, talk to one another is most important. Which leads me to our theme. Well, that's not yet our theme, but that's a little bit the thought process behind our theme for next year. And it's pretty, well, it's not that provocative because everyone knows that we're in this state of disruption. Some might say it's a disaster also. Hey, but I mean, I'm usually the dystopian guy, so I need a little bit of positive outlook then from you guys. So we live in that world of disruption, but what else is new? I mean, it has already been in the past. And the uplifting thing, or basically what lifts me up when I'm in these moments of time where I think like, oh, can we get back to normal, please? But the new normal, I mean, yeah, there it is, new normal, but there's not going back to normal. There's more like what's the new normal, or what's going to, how are we going to arrange all the parts that we've learned now through pandemic and through upheavals in society. And these upheavals, historically speaking, they've always had like a big potential for opportunity to create something new, and that's what we like to look at here. And we look for people and companies that are daring to explore new ways, and we really need them as our partners also for the Munich Creative Business Week to create that spark again. And we hope for 1 million answers to the question, why disruption unleashes creativity? So how do we, I mean, I could go on and we get very philosophical with that, so I'm looking forward to connect with you and share your thoughts and share your ideas with me and me with you. So that's our annual theme for 2023. So looking forward to all the great things that are going to happen there then. Yeah, and here's a little call for action for you guys. So what's in it for you, or basically how can you get involved anyone who has an idea can get involved, like freelance designers, they can host a workshop. As a retail company, you could be part of one of our guided tours through Munich, etc., etc. So I'm not going to list all that, just talk to us or get in contact with Karina. And then we'll talk further. So associate yourself with these, the more than 30 design disciplines, or I mean, there might be even more than that. So forgive me. And a format, with my background in fashion design, I still dream of a fashion show, but I mean, we had something like that virtually also. But, and has been in the past with the Deutsche Meisterschule für Mode, etc., etc. But any format, be it online, be it offline, is a great addition to the Munich Creative Business Week also. Oh yeah, I'm running out of time. Yeah, good reasons for Dutch companies or corporations to join the Munich Creative Business Week. A little bit of marketing here. So for sure, increasing visibility, but also some aspect that I really like is the intercultural exchange that has been brought up in the panels also today a lot, and the talking to one another to solve the challenges that we are currently facing. One thing that I really liked here that I didn't think of, but for sure strengthen the Dutch design community abroad. I mean, there's Dutch designers working in, I've worked with some of them during my days in fashion design, so yeah, strengthen them. And your next step should then be contact Karina or also contact us to get in touch and to see what we can do for you and how we can benefit from one another. So this is the dates to remember, and also the question why disruption unleashes creativity. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Christian, for being here and traveling to the Netherlands. Please say hello also to your colleague, director of the Munich Creative Business Week, because she's ill too. And we will meet her again. We will be there. And if anyone is interested in joining the Netherlands with CreativeNL to go to Munich, contact me later on. And now we are reaching the end of this meeting, and we learned a lot about social innovation. Waf waf. We even got a dog here. Yeah, is there any question? Is there any question or not? No, I don't see. Yeah? Oh yeah, go ahead. Come. Yes, probably.
So I have one question for you, but also my colleague and I, we are from Shelter Suit. We made all the way to Eindhoven. If I can get stage, I'd like to tell a little bit more, because indeed it's a social, how to say, creative idea to make a shelter suit. But the idea is even better. Next to that, we make a shelter for homeless people. It's also made in our own factory in Enschede, with people with distance to the labor force, and we upcycle the materials as much as we can. So it's 3 things which we do. To be honest, quite proud of that we do that. But are there any more examples of a product who is a social product?
You mean? Oh.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You mean in Munich? You mean in general?
Just overall. You have another example.
From the top of my head, oh God. Well, there's initiatives like the Brot am Haken, so that's something that I know from Munich also. It's bread on a hook. So basically, I mean, it's a pretty common thing actually that you can do in various cafes. And yeah, I'm tall. So that people can buy an extra bread, and basically that one then gets offered to someone in need when they come to the bakery and everything. I think I've seen it a couple of years ago, a lot more. I think it's time to reinvent that or foster more of these initiatives again. So, but yeah, I would need to think a little bit more about this. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for this good question, because there are many more and we should share them with each other. And the thinking on social innovation is not finished. These are values we share today. These are thoughts from various points of view from 2 countries, but it's never finished, the thinking. So I'm not going to do a wrap up. You have to do your own wrap up and keep the thinking going and talk to each other. But we're going to conclude this afternoon right here on stage now. And I would like to thank you for traveling, and all the other people coming from Germany, and the Dutch attendees, as well as the partners we had today. And then I have a very practical question. Before ending this afternoon, I've been asked if you can scan a QR code that will be on screen to give your opinion about this this session. We're making television with each other right now, in a way, and you're the fantastic audience. And we want to learn from your data, because data are always everywhere, and we need data too. So there will be a QR code now, and could you scan it? I hope it works. It does? Fantastic. Then you will be on the website, and then you need to answer some questions. So I'll shut my mouth and wait for you for some moments. Is there someone who's done? Because I don't know how much time it takes. Okay, then we close this afternoon. Thank you so much for being here, for joining, and we're looking forward to have these drinks and this networking moment with the people from the Embassy of Berlin. And thank you very much for having this moment with us. So it's a combined drink. It's close by. It's next door, in fact. So go there and meet each other, and we'll see each other again, probably on screen or in the email or personal. And yeah, we're looking forward to meet you again. Thank you.